Tonight, in our coverage, Canadian officials in Washington are bracing for potential trade battles as Donald Trump steps back into the Oval Office. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Elia Batul. Canadian leaders have attended Donald Trump's presidential inauguration today amid rising trade tensions. Federal ministers Francois Philippe Champagne and Mary Ng, who are working closely to respond to Trump's threats, were in attendance. Both leaders are co-leads of Team Canada, working in the past year to promote the Canada-US relationship. Ontario Energy Minister Stephen Lecce and Trade Minister Vic Fedeli have also been spotted at the ceremony. Quebec's Economy Minister Martine Byron and veteran MP John McKay have attended the inauguration. McKay is a co-chair of the Canada-United States Interparliamentary Group and has met many American legislators over the years. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith and Newfoundland Premier Andrew Furey attended events at the Canadian Embassy near the White House. Smith recently met Trump in Florida. She is a vocal critic of Ottawa's stance of imposing counter-tariffs on the United States. She has refused to join a unified federal statement opposing proposed U.S. tariffs. Reports indicate U.S. President Donald Trump will not implement his proposed tariffs on Canada, Mexico, or China on his first day in office. This means Canada has been granted a temporary reprieve from potential economic fallout. President Trump has been considering three options for tariffs. The first is a 25% levy on Canadian goods. The second option is a 10% blanket tariff on imports from all countries, and the third is to gradually increase tariffs. However, a Trump administration official says the president will instead direct agencies to investigate trade imbalances, particularly with China, Canada, and Mexico. In his inaugural address, Trump made only a brief mention of tariffs. He vows to overhaul the U.S. trade system to protect American workers and families. While his remarks hinted at a broader economic strategy, immediate tariff action was notably absent. Two senior Canadian government officials have told Radio Canada that the news is good, but they remain cautious due to ongoing uncertainty. This comes as Trump is expected to sign an executive order directing agencies to review the Canada-US-Mexico agreement, potentially setting the stage for future trade negotiations. Supply management in Canada's agriculture sector, a long-standing point of contention, could resurface in the agreement's review. While Canada has avoided immediate tariffs, Trump's focus on trade imbalances and his push for new revenue through tariffs suggests that this issue is far from resolved. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland has officially launched her campaign to replace Justin Trudeau as Liberal Party leader. She is presenting herself as a battle-tested negotiator ready to face U.S. President Donald Trump. Speaking in Toronto, Freeland highlighted her leadership during the NAFTA renegotiations. She promises a true Canadian response to potential U.S. trade threats, including dollar-for-dollar retaliations against tariffs. Freeland has also highlighted her disagreements with Trudeau over economic policy, calling them costly political gimmicks. She calls Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre a pushover who would fail to stand up to Trump. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly has endorsed Freeland's key rival, Mark Carney, as the best candidate to lead the Liberals. Joly praises Carney's economic expertise as a former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. She argues Carney is better positioned to address U.S. trade challenges under Trump. Joly's endorsement strengthens Carney's position, particularly in Quebec, where her extensive Liberal network is expected to mobilize support. Carney has also gained support from Emergency Preparedness Minister Harjit Sajjan. Freeland is backed by other cabinet ministers, including Health Minister Mark Holland and Fisheries Minister Diane Lebooth-Hiller. For the first time in 471 nights, Palestinians in the Gaza Strip were able to witness a night without any bloodshed. This comes as a fragile ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas comes into effect. Hamas has freed 3 Israeli prisoners and Israel has released 90 Palestinian detainees. Parents are relieved to see their children sleep for a night without the fear of Israeli bombing. Hospitals have not braced for a surge of wounded. As civilians return to rubbles of their homes, the scars of destruction run deep. The makeshift tents mark the resilience of Palestinian people. Those returning back are facing severe shortages of clean water, healthcare, and basic aid. Over 638 trucks entered Gaza, carrying food and medicine. United Nations Aid Chief Tom Fletcher says 300 of these trucks are headed towards North Gaza. The area has been extensively bombed in the past few months. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers have launched a string of attacks on Palestinian towns and villages. Palestinian media reports vehicles have been attacked by settlers in the town of Termis Aya in Ramallah and the Ain Sinya military checkpoint nearby. Israel says some of the prisoners will not be allowed to go to the West Bank. Instead, they will be deported to other countries. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 46,913 Palestinians. More than 110,057 have been injured since October 7th. The war has left more than 11,000 Palestinians missing. In November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli leaders, while Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its war on the enclave. As Joe Biden's presidency ended today, his role in Israel's Gaza war has sparked heated debate. Biden's last day in office is also the first day when Palestinians in Gaza witnessed a peaceful day. Critics, including human rights groups, label his support for Israel's actions as enabling genocide. Biden has earned the controversial nickname Genocide Joe online. Under his presidency, the U.S. government spent $17.9 billion in military aid to Israel during the 15-month war on Gaza. Critics argue Biden could have prevented the violence by withholding support to Israel. Palestinian-American Imam Dr. Omar Suleiman called Biden's legacy genocidal. In a post on X, journalist Sana Saeed calls Blinken and Biden the butchers of Palestine. In a recent interview, Biden has recalled urging Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to avoid extensive bombing. However, many view this as an acknowledgement of funding war crimes. Biden's foreign policy is widely criticized. His presidency leaves behind a polarizing and contested legacy. Syria has dismissed the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces proposal to remain a separate military bloc. The forces control a semi-autonomous region in northeastern Syria. The group has been negotiating not to integrate into the national forces after the new government took power in December. Defense Minister Morhaf Abu Qasra says all armed groups must merge into the defense ministry's hierarchy. Abu Qasra rejects the idea of a distinct bloc. The U.S. backs the Syrian Democratic Forces as a key ally against ISIS, while Turkey views it as linked to the PKK, a banned group. Abu Qasra prioritizes unifying Syria's forces by March, despite criticism over sweeping reforms. Efforts continue amidst challenges, including controversial appointments of foreign fighters to senior ranks. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's conviction has cast a shadow over ongoing negotiations between his party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and the government. Khan has been sentenced to 14 years in prison for corruption just a day after his party presented its demands to the National Assembly Speaker. Talks between Khan's party and the government began last year to address political tensions. The demands include the release of the party's leader and alleged election fraud. Analysts are divided on the outcome. Some see the party's softened stance as a chance for reconciliation, while others deem its demands impractical. Khan's party has hinted at resuming protests if negotiations falter. A blast of Arctic air is said to bring bone-chilling cold and heavy snow across Canada. Temperatures are plunging by 30 degrees Celsius in some regions. Parts of Nunavut will be as cold as minus 58 degrees Celsius. Wind chill could hit minus 40 degrees Celsius in northern Alberta. In Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, they could go up to minus 45 degrees Celsius. Southern Manitoba is already grappling with snowy pileups. Experts say the Arctic outbreak is caused by a wobble in the polar vortex, pushing icy air southward. The cold spell stretches into the U.S., impacting Florida. Environment Canada urges caution, highlighting risks of frostbite and windburn. Vulnerable groups and pets should stay protected during this extreme cold snap. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV.